Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be replacing this kitchen faucet, so let's go ahead and get started. Here's our old faucet. You can see this is a slightly older style. It has this old sprayer type, but a couple years ago the sprayer was replaced with a shower head, which is kind of nasty, and also it's just like really difficult to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this ripped out. So here's the new faucet I picked out. This is a Delta Leland style faucet. So this is a stainless pull down style faucet. It's got 3 different spray patterns, which is nice. I know Delta is a pretty trusted plumbing name brand. They do guarantee their faucets for life, which is nice. And I got this for a pretty good price. I paid $100 for this, which sounds like a lot for a faucet. I was surprised, but generally they can run a lot more expensive than that. So this is pretty good. So inside of the box, you're gonna get the faucet itself. You're gonna get a bunch of hardware, and then also importantly, I'm gonna get this deck plate here. So this is important because since this faucet has 3 holes in the countertop, I will need this deck plate to cover the hole. Of course, you're gonna have to remove everything from under your sink, so I've gone ahead and done that. And before you start any plumbing work, make sure to turn off the water. You should have valves under your sink if it's a newer house. In older homes, you might not have these valves and you might have to shut off water to the whole house, but here you can see we have these compression valves. It's very possible that when you turn these off, they might not spin easily because they get stuck. If that happens, don't panic. Just grab yourself a pair of channel locks and very carefully just try and break it free. Don't force anything because you could break the pipe or the valve, but just turn off the water. So now we basically have no more water. You might get a little bit of dripping here, but there's not going to be any water coming out of the faucet, which is good. Now that you have the water turned off, we're going to go ahead and start removing these supply lines. So these particular ones fit with a 5/8 wrench, although in some cases if there's buildup you might need a adjustable wrench. But basically just very carefully while holding the actual valve so you don't break the actual pipe, go ahead and just carefully loosen these things off and try not to push too hard. So there goes one, and then we'll do the same with the hot side. So again, hold the valve to avoid damage. Just try and pull it. There you go. And then it's also a good idea to get yourself a cloth or something like that to put under here, because you're going to have some dripping from the old parts of the faucet when you remove it. You can also go ahead and remove this old shower spray head that should not be here. So all of our old lines are off, as you can see. So now it's time to actually remove the faucet itself. So if you look under here, it is a little nasty, so I apologize, but it's fastened by this little nut thing, and then there's 2 screws on it. So first loosen those screws, and then you can undo that nut. So you're probably gonna want an extra long Phillips screwdriver for this if you have one, and it's gonna be tricky to get up there, but basically just undo those screws. And what that's gonna do is loosen this up a little bit, and then you can go ahead and slide that thing off. At this point, we can probably lift this out. There it goes. Let's be very careful to not pull anything. And then there's probably going to be a lot of crap under this plate, so go ahead and clean that off. All cleaned up, so now we're going to go ahead and start installing the new faucet. So you need this deck plate here. If you have 3 holes, this just slides in like that. There's a gasket on the bottom of it, so we're going to go put that in, and then on the bottom we put these 2 little nuts on the bottom. Now we put this little O-ring into the base that we just installed, and then we'll put this stainless deck plate thing over that, and then we can drop our new faucet in. Take that out of the box. Got very long connections, so let's go ahead and feed the plumbing through the hole. Make sure to not damage anything. There's little ridges to line the faucet up with, so that way it's perfectly centered. So now that we have that little brass ring thing on, we got to put this nut on. This is a challenging part because it's very common that this will get stripped out. So you got to be very patient and just make sure it actually threads on to what it's supposed to be before you force it. It should be nice and easy. There we go, we caught the threads. So now we just do this all the way up. They actually give you this tool, which is helpful. So you have to stick the supply hose through this tool, but then you can use this to drive in that nut and hopefully make the job a slight bit easier. Yeah, there we go. Just make sure that's all tight and good. Then we can pull this down, and the faucet, if we go up, should be nice and secure to the counter, which it is. Nice. Now you have your lines, so we're gonna go ahead and connect these to the valves. So each one is clearly marked. This one has blue inside, so this is cold, and then this one is hot. So just go ahead and do the same thing we did in reverse. Just go ahead, give it a nice little loop, and then you can go ahead and take your wrench and then start tightening this down until it's snug. No Teflon needed because it's a compression fitting. Just tighten it until it's snug. Both our water supplies are connected. You can see we have our nice little bends. That's the preferred way to do it. If you need to, you could cut the PEX and redo it, but I wouldn't recommend that. So now we can go ahead and turn on the water and we'll flush out the lines. Hopefully nothing happens. So get yourself a little jar or a bucket or something, put it under the spout right there, and then have someone else turn on the water. Hold. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and connect the pull down sprayer. So take this part here, put the weight on. I don't actually like this weight because a lot of other weights, they have like places where they clamp on, but this doesn't make much sense because as you pull it, the weight's just gonna fall to the lowest spot. So that does not exactly make too much sense to me. And then what you're gonna do is basically put this and then plug it onto that thing. Once that's connected, you need to take this little blue clippy thing, and I believe it snaps on right here. And this is supposed to prevent the thing from coming off. Our kitchen faucet is now installed. You can see it swivels. It's got this nice pull down sprayer head. It tracks on its own. It's got a magnet too. I really like that. Turn it on, 2 different sprays. You also have this shield spray, which is really nice. I did make 2 modifications to the sprayer hose. So first of all, I really am not a fan of how this weight does not have anything to actually secure it, because if you don't have it held, there's no potential energy to drag it down. So I ended up using a couple zip ties to get it to stay here. Then what I did is I used this plastic wire holder thing. It's almost like a conduit clamp, except it's plastic, so it won't damage the hose. And I put it into these, into the back of the cabinet, so that way the hose stays back there. Because originally, when it was just hanging down here, every single time it went up, it would hit this valve here, which, I mean, that's probably fine, but I don't want to damage anything. And if you hit solder connections too much, it could be a problem. So by doing this, just keeps everything out of the way, which is nice. So that's that. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.